let's continue on to football.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick, Jim Harbaugh, now the current head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. He did an interview with USA Today's Jared Bell about the possibility of joining the Los Angeles Chargers coaching staff. He thinks that Kaepernick will be a tremendous fit for the team. Obviously, they have a great relationship going back to their days at the San Francisco 49ers. Look, Colin Kaepernick did try out for a workout at Michigan while Jim Harbaugh was there. I'm going to say this. Colin Kaepernick's football career, as far as playing, is over because he's been out of the league for 8 years. But
Mm-hmm.
if he wants to have any association with the NFL whatsoever, I think he should take this job. And for
Right.
those who may have a problem with Jim Harbaugh giving this job, keep in mind a couple of years ago, Urban Meyer did bring in Tim Tebow to Jacksonville to play tight end, a position that Tim Tebow never played before.
And he was also out of the league for 6 years.
The last time Tim Tebow played, I think it was December of 2012 when he was with the New York Jets.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when I look at this, I don't have a problem with it. People want to look at it and say nepotism. All right, fine. I don't care. But I think for Cap, does he want to take this opportunity as a coach, whether quarterback coach, assistant coach, whatever? It's up to him to decide what he wants to do. His football NFL playing career is done. I don't see him back in the NFL, back on the field. But it's up to Cap to determine what he wants to do. Do you want to be back in the NFL? Maybe not as a player, but as a coach. I think he should take the opportunity. He has a great relationship with Jim Harbaugh. They both respect each other. I think he should take it, but that's only up to Cap. Whoever wants to go. What are your thoughts about it?
I would say this. Look, Cap, if you run across this show, one of the greatest shows ever, by the way.
Thank you.
If you hear this, I would advise you to stop what you're doing. And if you really want to be in the NFL, go ahead and be a coach. Because at this point, I hate to say it because I was a fan of yours. I still am a fan of yours, regardless. You're not going to play anymore. You're not going. That ship has long gone and sailed into the ocean, and it has sunk like the Titanic.
Wow.
It has sunk like the Titanic. It's gone. People are look. People notice how rusty that Deshaun Watson was when he came back. That was after 2 years. That was after 2 long years. And when you're out of the game 8 years and you have not played any type of organized football at all, you haven't been in the UFL, you haven't been in the Arena League, you haven't been in the CFL, your timing is off, and the only thing you're doing is training. As an athlete myself, as a former amateur athlete myself, amateur boxing, look, I can tell you, a week out of the gym will hurt you, much less 8 years. You can do all the cardiovascular on the treadmill in the gym that you want, but once you step in that ring or on that field, it's a whole nother different type of shape. And the game at certain points pass you by. If you had kept playing, I would say, hey, give a man a shot. If you went to the one or the other league, I would say give it a shot. But those times are gone. And make sure when you come back, if you come back into the NFL, make sure you stay below the radar. Make sure you protect not only yourself, but your team's reputation at all times. Don't be a distraction. Don't find yourself in the eyes of the media every single time you look up, because they're going to be watching. I would accept this job if you want to get back in the NFL, because you have a hell of a lot that you can teach to these young guys coming into the league. You've been to a Super Bowl. You've been one of the faces of the league in a short period of time. You've had a magnificent, the ascension that you had in the NFL was nothing short of amazing. One day you was at the University of Nevada, and then less than 2 years later, you advertising for Jaguar, the automobile company. We saw the ads. You saw all over the place. And you had a meteoric rise. So you know a little something about success coming at you fast and how quickly you can lose it. Fair or unfair, I will say. But you have a lot that you can teach each and every last one of these men, not just football perspective. Hey, you want to get back in the NFL? Go ahead, take that head coaching job. Please don't be a distraction. Always know that everybody's going to be looking at you hand over fist, and make sure you don't give them anything to talk about. Hey, I know people will say that's a little bit too humbling, but in this world, in this business, you got to be humble and you got to go along to get along sometimes. Be humble, come back to the NFL as a coach, teach these young men, and hell, you just never know. We see miracles happen all the time. You come back, you be a coach, you can arguably, and if you become a head coach, if you're good, if you follow the teachings of a coach like a Jim Harbaugh, we could very well 10, 15 years from now be talking about one of the greatest comeback stories or stories in NFL history if you were to become a head coach. And these days, once you get certain experience behind certain coaches, it doesn't take you that long to become a head coach. And if you don't believe that, look at what Mike Holmgren did with John Gruden, what he did with Steve Mariucci, what he did with Andy Reid. Look at what Bill Walsh did to a lot of members of his coaching staff who are still coaching to his day from that coaching tree. Meteoric rises. So meteoric rises happen every day and you live through one. It's time to put them playing days aside, come back, be a coach, stay below the radar, don't be a distraction to the team, come on back and coach. And guess what? Teach this younger generation some value and teach them something about how to play in the NFL. You've been there.
Just want to add on to something Harbaugh told reporters on Thursday. Kaepernick won't be a part of the Chargers staff in 2024 as a coach or player. This is a quote from Jim Harbaugh. I love Colin, but he's not going to be on the coaching staff I said for this year, and he's not going to be playing on the roster either. So they've had this discussion within January, according to USA Today's Jared Bell. Kenny,
Yo,
what do you think Cap should do?
honestly, I really don't want him to pull a Watson. You know, like Champ said, it's been 8 years since he's been in the league. So, you know, for your own safety and your own injury, if I were you, like that Champ said, I would just get in the coaching, man. Because, like, man, you haven't been in the league in 8 years. So, if I were you in this situation, I would just hang it up, bro. Like, help develop Justin Herbert, help him become a better player and, you know, a person. So, I don't know. If I were him in this situation, I would just turn into a coach, like you guys are saying.
All right. Kieran?
Yeah, I agree with Kenny. I don't think he should play. One, he's 36 years old. It's very rare for a quarterback coming after 8 years and still like even being a tolerable backup. And I said this about Colin Kaepernick before. He has one of the weirdest careers I've ever seen in the NFL. Basically taking over for the starting job after Alex Smith got injured, going to the Super Bowl, going to another NFC Championship game, and then basically out of the league in 3 years. I haven't seen a lot of quarterbacks do that. Usually, Super Bowl quarterbacks, even if they're not good, still get quarterback jobs. It's like even though Colin Kaepernick, in his own right, has turned down a backup quarterback job in the Ravens, I believe, when he got released from the Niners. He hasn't really gotten another one since. And honestly, people are blowing the coaching thing out of proportion. We've seen numerous times that players have gotten jobs and they haven't coached a lick of football in their life. I can think of one right now, Hines Ward. Wes Welker is another one. Even Jerron Mayo is a head coach right now. Nepotism happens a lot in the NFL, and people don't realize it. And for people to say that, like, oh, Colin Kaepernick can't get a coaching job, it's just
Work here, though.
I think we lost BR. Oh, no, we got him. Kieran, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. If he really wants to get back in the NFL, don't play. I would just coach, really. So nepotism happens a lot. That's what I was gonna say. But
Nah, well said. BRF.
Yeah, I mean, there's really, I think, yeah, there's really, I mean, I agree with pretty much everybody on the panel here. I mean, I think one thing I've seen a little bit of in the comments is like, it's like I guess people talking about Colin Kaepernick and like being a coach, and then you'll see something like, man, what did Colin Kaepernick learn, to be a coach? He wasn't successful his last few years as a quarterback, and I'm just like, okay, just because he kind of, you know, didn't succeed as well as like he wanted to the last couple of years in San Francisco. At the end of the day, you're still around the coaches. You're still reading the playbook. You're still learning the scheme. You're still learning the routes, the coverages, and all that stuff. That's still knowledge that you're still picking up that you can bring that knowledge if you wanted to be a coach to another team. So like I said, a lot of quarterbacks who sucked playing turn into pretty decent head coaches or offensive coordinators or assistants just from the standpoint of understanding what the NFL is, whatever era they're in, as far as like plays and schemes
Hey,
and routes and
BRF.
just yes, what's up?
You know who's a bad quarterback that actually like turned into a pretty decent head coach? Even more than that, Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, great example. He wasn't the greatest quarterback, but he turned into a hell of a coach. You see that happen quite a bit. So I would definitely highly, strongly consider it if I was Colin Kaepernick to be a coach, because I mean, you're still, even if you're not playing, you're still around the coaches. You're still talking. You're still talking about the basis of what football is. You're talking about what football is. So you can't nobody tell me, being around Jim Harbaugh like he was, being around the game as long as he had, and understanding and having an understanding of certain concepts and things and stuff like that, being a quarterback, you can't tell me he couldn't at least start off like on the assistant level and bring something to a team as far as helping the quarterback out. I definitely think he should give it a shot. If I was him, I would go into coaching. Yeah, because 8 years out of the league not playing, yeah, just pack that up. He shouldn't even consider it anymore. I know he did the interview saying he feel like he can still bring something to a team after 8 years. You may feel like it, but nobody is gonna take a chance on you 8 years out of the league. I mean, that's rare. Like, how many times have you really seen that? What, Tommy Maddox, Doug Flutie, that's it. And that was like the luck of the draw, miracle seasons. So I mean, nah. I mean, it's too rare. It's too rare. If I was Colin Kaepernick, I would just like I would highly, if somebody wants me to be a coach, I would highly consider it, because I still feel like he could bring something to the table, because he's obviously a smart dude. He obviously knows about the game of football. So I definitely feel like he could bring something as a coach. If I was him, I'd strongly consider it.
I agree. Like I said before, his playing career is over. Hey, what better way to get an opportunity in the NFL as a coach with a guy who I had a great relationship with going back to my days in San Francisco. And the guy loves me and I respect him. And if I'm Cap, but again, at the end of the day, it's up to Cap what he wants to do. I mean, I commend Cap for what he's done as far as with his social activism. I mean, I think he was great. I had no problem with the protests and what he was doing at the time, because again, he was bringing awareness to an issue that needed. And when considering everything that has transpired, with a lot of travesties, Ahmaud Arbery, Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile, Tamir Rice, obviously, what happened with the young woman in Illinois, Sonia Massey.
Yes.
Again, Colin Kaepernick, I commend him for the protest. I had no problem with it. Again, that I think people, particularly in the media and the public, took it out of context in terms of what he was trying to do. He was bringing awareness to an issue regarding social injustice, police brutality, all these other things. And I think with Cap, he can still do that. And if he wants to be a head coach, let him. Players, yeah, some players, they'll still have respect for Colin Kaepernick. He can provide a perspective. He could provide insight. He has knowledge. He understands what type of offense Jim Harbaugh likes to run. After all, he's been there.
Mm-hmm.
And he could also help out a young ascending quarterback in Justin Herbert. This is the best. Justin Herbert is the best quarterback Jim Harbaugh has had since Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh was the head coach at Stanford, and he had Andrew Luck. We all knew Andrew Luck coming out of Stanford, number 1 overall pick. A lot of draft experts said best quarterback prospect since John Elway. And I think for Cap to help out Justin Herbert, hey, that could be a great thing. That could build a rapport for him regarding the NFL. I think, but only who knows? But at the end of the day, it's up to Cap to see what he wants to do.